welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I've last recorded and released a podcast episode, but I'm back. It's been a busy couple of months, so that is the reason why, and I just haven't been feeling up to recording lately. My name is Sharon, and thanks for tuning in to the Rainit's One More Stitch Knitting podcast, where I talk about all things knitting, yarn, and anything related to that. So today's episode, I have a lot of finished objects and works in progress to go through, so I'm going to speed through all of that. I actually had to write everything down because there's been so much lately. And the main thing that I want to touch on for this podcast is my hand-dyed yarn line, which I will be releasing on June 30th for pre-order on my Etsy website. So let's get started with my yarns actually and show you all the colorways that I have for you. So like I said, all of them will be available for pre-order on June 30th, which is coming up very soon. I wanted to get this video out before then, and they'll be available on my Etsy shop. And the lead time will be approximately 4 to 12 weeks, depending of course on my schedule and just in general how things go. So all of the colorways I'm going to carry on 6 different bases. So there will be fingering weight and DK weight Peruvian Highland wool, which is non-superwash, as well as a fingering and DK weight 100% extra fine organic merino wool, which is also non-superwash, and those run at about 20.5 microns, so it's very soft. And then a specialty type of yarn is a superwash merino DK weight boucle yarn, which is 100% merino wool but superwashed, and then also a Surrey silk lace weight yarn. So hopefully with all of this together, you can mix and match with the Surrey, play around with the different colors, play around with the boucle, and I just wanted to provide like a very wide range of choices for you. So that should be really fun. Okay, the colors. So first up we have here, so I have most of my samples on the Highland DK weight, just because I like how it looks, and yeah, it's one that I tend to knit with a lot. So this is the color up close. And it's just a very neutral beige color. I think of it as like a cousin to my previous color in my previous release. So this is Toasted Sesame. It's like a warmer beige for sure, whereas Milk Tea, which was like a beige in my previous collection, was more of a cooler toned beige. So I wanted a warmer toned one as well. So the Highland DK is like extra fluffy. Oh, and also peep at my yarn labels. I had them upgraded, so now they're actually pretty heavy duty and very thick. So the Highland DK runs at 245 yards per 100 grams, and it's super squishy and fluffy. I'll compare it to the merino as well, and you'll see like the airiness difference between the two bases. Okay, so this is Milk Tea, and then we have Bay. Oh, sorry, this is Toasted Sesame, and this is Bay. So originally I wanted to name this Carl the Fog because, you know, California, San Francisco always has this layer of fog that has been deemed or nicknamed Carl. And I thought it was pretty fitting, but then it came out a little more blue than I was expecting, and I really liked it. So, you know, this is now the quintessential Bay Area sky color. So it's like a very pretty gray blue, very muted blue. Super squishy again. And then here we have Butter Together. It's like a very mellow yellow, super soft, and a very comfortable color to look at. And again, very squishy. And then we have Coming Up Roses, which is again like a muted rose color. Then here we have Pistachio, which is a pistachio green. It's like a very spring green. And lastly, we have here Periwinkle. So this is the brightest, I'd say, out of the entire collection. And it's a very pretty periwinkle color. Yeah. Okay, so those are the bases. And then, those are the ones on Peruvian Highland wool in the DK. And then I dyed some up on the boucle. I don't have the whole collection on it yet, but you know, as the orders roll in, there will be. So these are boucle, and I'm just gonna hold this up close so you can see it. But it's so squishy, and I feel that it does indeed run at like a true DK weight, which is nice. So it's like super versatile, and you don't have to hold it together with any other yarn. And these run at 240 yards per 100 grams. Super squishy. I'm very excited to knit with these actually. And I also have it here in the pistachio color. And all my colorways are tonals, so you'll see like ever so slight like variegation within the yarn just because it's hand dyed and not a solid color. So yeah, they're all tonals. And then I will show you on some of the other bases. So here we have Oh My Merino Light. So this is a fingering weight organic extra fine merino wool base that I have. And at 100 grams, it runs 438 yards or 400 meters. So here it is on bay. And then I'll also hold it up with a fingering weight Peruvian Highland wool, so you can see like the difference in squishiness. So here it is on Periwinkle. I'm actually using this for a project, so it's not the prettiest looking skein, but you can see like the size difference between the two. So this one's like super squishy. The Peruvian Highland wool is very squishy. There's a lot more air in the fiber. And then the merino is a bit denser. It's more silky, as you would expect from a merino. So I also have some of the Oh My Merino DK weight, and at 100 grams, these run 230 yards. So the yardage on the merino is like slightly less than the Peruvian Highland wool, just because the merino is denser and the Highland wool is lighter. So here is Butter Together. This is Coming Up Roses. Super pretty. And again, you'll see like slight totally variegatedness within the yarn, which I think adds to the character, and it'll knit up really beautifully. And I also wanted to show some of the Surrey, just to show what it looks like. So on the Surrey base, it'll definitely run lighter color just because of the way it absorbs the dye. So as you can see here, they're like more like muted of the entire colorway. So like Butter Together here, Bay, and Pistachio. Now, I also have here Periwinkle. So these are lace weight, 74% baby Surrey alpaca and 26% silk blend. 50 grams gets you 328 yards. So I do find that they are a little more fluffy than a mohair silk blend, so hence the yardage difference. Yeah, these are so soft. I just love Surrey. Okay, I think that's about it for my yarn, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started on all of my works. I have a lot since it's been a long while since I last recorded. So starting from the top as I open up my notebook, we have here the Go Gently Cardigan, and this is a test knit by Amy Scher. That I tested for Amy Scher of Amy Scher Makes. And this one is actually knit in my Oh My Merino DK weight base. This is from my previous collection, a color from my previous collection. It's the colorway Ube, and on a non-superwash base, it's super like airy, muted, more blended of a color. So I like this a lot. I've actually worn it quite a bit in the springtime, which is nice. And it just has like this really cute lace ruffly detail. Next up, let's see, I have here is my Miles shirt jacket. Hopefully you can see it well enough. This is knit with 3 strands of Nutiden yarn by owner Oak Iyer, and it's in the colorway Shishmaneya. I don't remember which collection or which month of a collection it was from, but essentially this is just a very large like shirt jacket. Hopefully you can tell. But the bottom is like, it curves inward to give you that like shirt feel. It's super warm, super cozy. It gets softer every time you wear it, which is really nice. So yeah. Oh, this is a test knit that I did for Ozetta, the Haley. And today I'm only going to show you the test knits that I've been doing, which is pretty much what I've been doing these past 2 months. Yeah, I've tested a lot, but I really enjoy it, so I'm gonna keep doing it. Okay. Next up, I have the Javelin Pullover, and this is by Teti of Teti's Knit Garden. And for all of these items or objects I finish, you probably have seen it on my Instagram page, so you could see like a modeled shot of them. This is knit up in a merino wool and Angora rabbit yarn that I picked up from Rhinebeck last year. And I don't know who the dyer is because it was in an unnamed stand there. So yeah, this is really pretty light blue. That's super hard to capture on camera actually. So I had a lot of issues with that when I was taking my finished object photos. And then next, here I have my Isa cardigan, and this is a test knit by Vert and Rose. So her name is Alex, and she's a newer designer, and she's been creating some really beautiful patterns that are very like feminine and very soft and gentle looking. So this one I also knit up in Nutiden yarn held double. And this is in the colorway Analkan, which is it's like a darker rose color. Also extremely hard to capture on camera, surprisingly. But sometimes it shows up like very bright on camera, sometimes very dark, but it's just like since I'm wearing a white shirt, hopefully it shows up better on camera. But it has like really nice pretty lace detailing on the front. I'm really happy with how it turned out with the yarn. And then I have my Menin Crop Tea. This is also test knit for Autumn and Indigo, or Claire. And this is one of my hand-dyed yarns. It's a worsted weight, non-superwash merino base. And this is a one-of-a-kind colorway, which you might see in my shop at some point because I have a lot of one-of-a-kind yarns that I think will be great for the shop. So you can get those at a slight discount as well. But this I decided to knit a crop tee with, and it's worsted weight. So this tee actually knits up like super quickly. It's also raglan construction, very easy to follow along, and it has this like very cute wavy detail at the bottom. Next up, I have the Glint vest, and this is a test knit for Irene Lynn. She also creates like really gorgeous designs, and they're all very detailed, but it works well. Like all the details work well together. I really like this vest. It was very fun to knit up actually. All the details work together just like so well. And it has like this really pretty pattern. also knit this up in 2 strands of knitted in yarn in the colorway Medvind. But the knit pattern texture looks essentially like diamonds all over it. So yeah, I really like this. It's very versatile as well. So this bag right here is a test knit. I have it filled to the brim with some yarn, but it holds a lot. So this is the Flock drawstring bag. Originally, so this pattern is by Wei Chen of The Petite Knitter. I knit this up in Medvind from Owner Ok Air in the knitted in yarn. And so also the drawstrings I also knit up in one of their yarns as well. Originally the design has like little sheep embroidered on it, but I kind of like it without it. And I will also eventually figure out how to embroider, but it's not really on the top of my to-do list right now. But yeah, I really enjoyed knitting this bag. It was super fast as well. And I think it came together really nicely. I really enjoyed the construction. And then moving into some of my works in progress. So I had my Ornata blouse somewhere. I'm not exactly sure where I put it, but it was a test knit for Teti's Knit Garden, which released already. Most of these items have already released as I finished them, so you can probably find them on all of the designers' sites and their Ravelry pages. So I have here another one of Teti's designs. This is the Roots and Shoots sweater. So she created like a very pretty color work pattern for the entire yoke, and then there's also some color work at the bottom of the sleeves and then at the bottom with the hem, which I will get to. But I'm excited to finish this up for wearing in the fall time, as it's getting quite a little bit too warm to wear here now. But this is knit up in 1 strand of knitted in yarn and 1 strand of silk mohair. So the blue is knitted in Pupelin, and the white is Ornithalgan. I think I just butchered that name, but I'll drop it down in the description. It's one of their older natural white colors. And then I held it with Knitting for Olive silk, so soft silk mohair. I think it was Dusty Aqua is the one that matches Pupilin. And then for the white mohair, I just used one of my undyed silk mohairs. So yeah, I'm very excited to finish this up, and I just think it's so pretty. Here is my sundial pullover test knit. This is for Iris Hardage. I think her Instagram username is hiris, the Iris. But this will be releasing in July. The test knit was like fairly long since it was getting fairly warm. So I just have 2 sleeves to do and then I'll be finished with it. I did use some of my hand-dyed yarns for this. The main yarn is a MCN base in a fingering weight, and I held it together with some silk mohair that I dyed up to match it. So I think that was a very good idea, as I really enjoy the finished fabric that it creates. It's so soft. One day I'll probably have MCN in my line of yarn bases. I'm really enjoying this, and hopefully I'll be able to finish it within the next few days or so. So I have here, okay, I think this is front. This is my rib tee, which is also a test knit. So this is for Teresa of CL Knits. It's a very stretchy rib tee made up in a broken rib. And her construction is very interesting. I was actually confused for a little bit when I was doing the raglan increases, but it worked out nicely. Yeah, this will become a t-shirt with like negative ease on it. So you'll be able to wear it with like a loose skirt. Yeah. Oh, and this is knit up in a color, this is a Toasted Sesame from my yarn line right now. And it's knit in the Oh My Merino Light. So it's the fingering weight, extra fine organic merino wool, non-superwash. And this is what the ball looks like. Supposedly I can finish this project with just one skein of fingering weight yarn of 100 grams. So I'm really banking on that. I do have another one just in case I need it, but that'd be very cool if I could finish this with one skein. And this is knit up on 4mm needles, so it's flying by. I just started this on Thursday or Friday of last week. Okay, and then here I have, it's a little messy right now with all the ends. So this is my Crescendo Summer Top, and it's a test knit for the Knit Pearl Girl. I'm very happy to be testing for her as I really enjoy her designs, especially the Crescendo line. And I knit this one up in the Sport Weight Retrosaria Vovo. And it's like this dark burgundy mulberry type of color. And the release date for this one has been pushed back to next spring as there are some calculation errors with some of these sizes. So Sophie will be redoing those calculations. But I hope to finish this before summer ends because it's going to be such a nice tee to wear, especially in like early fall, as this yarn is actually pretty thick, so I'll be warm. Yeah. And then here I have, oh, it's looking very strange right now. And the needles are too short for me to show the whole thing. But here I have my Fields of Gold test knit. So just imagine for a second, this will be the neckline, this circle right here. And this is the front, where if you've seen this design, you'll know that there's like little, they look like sticks of like wheat. So that'll run down the front. And I knit this up in two strands of knitted in yarn in the colorway Raglan. So there's just like a lot of little details on this knit. The pattern I'd say is not the easiest, so beginners beware. It takes a little bit of thinking on the knitter's end. But I'm really enjoying how it's working up, and I should be splitting for sleeves soon so I can just knit on the body continuously. And then I have here test knit for Ozetta again, and this is the Diana's Bandana. So eventually it'll become like a triangular shaped shawl bandana. I'm knitting this in my yarns, and this is the 100% Peruvian Highland wool, so the Highland DK base, and it's in the colors Bay and Toasted Sesame. So I think knitted up, you'll really be able to see like the subtle tonal variation within the yarn. And I really like how the Toasted Sesame knits up because it actually looks like, you know, it's like toasted in some areas. And then Bay for me is like kind of like little clouds going through it within like the blue sky. And this is like an entirely double knit bandana, so it'll be very thick, and I hope to make it into like a light shawl. Okay. And then lastly I have here my coloring book Raglan test knit. I'm not sure which ones are far back, but I'll just show you. So I'm doing the striped version, so it's the same as the model that Amy already knit up. So it'll be like 3/4 length sleeves and then a more lengthy body length. But I'm probably gonna end it at around like the top of my hips, as I don't really wear super long sweaters since my torso is really short. So it's just gonna be striped. And I'm knitting this up in the recommended yarn, which is the Pearl Soho linen quill yarn. And this is the color Peach Stone, and the gray stripes are oatmeal gray. And I really like this yarn a lot. It softens up a lot over time, and it just feels really good to knit with. And I really enjoy how like you can see subtle variation within the yarn color. Not sure if you can see it right now, but it's there. Along with like the heatheriness of the linen that's in there. Okay, I think that is all for now. Next time I record, I'll show some more acquisitions, as well as hopefully more finished objects, hoping that I can get a lot of these test knits done by the end of July, and also start on a couple of more. So that'll be super fun, and I just love test knitting. And also on June 30th, be sure to check out my Etsy page for my yarns that I'll be releasing. I'm really hoping that you'll enjoy them, and I can't wait to see what everyone makes. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Hope you guys have a great beginning of summer, and yeah, I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching again. Bye.